the feel of you. Cutting at the point. How's it going, folks? Welcome back. Another fiddle lesson here with Craig Judelman. That's me. This time we're going to be playing Cuttin' at the Point, which is a great tune that comes from, well, I think a few people, but at least one called Charlie Wilson and his Hayloft Boys or something like that. I'll teach you it pretty close to the way they play it, and then I'll show you some of the things that I do with it afterwards. So here goes the tune at a moderate tempo. It's just D and G, which seems easy, but it always seems to throw those guitarists off, which is a fun little trick to pull out at a jam. Here it goes. A little faster. Alright, well let's figure out what's happening there. And just a word of advice, it starts on a D, but it ends on a G. So I don't know what tuning that's in, and you'll find out what tuning your banjo player likes to play it in, but beware when you're calling this tune with people who don't know it. Anyways, here is the tune itself. It's relatively simple note-wise, but you got a lot of interesting bowing things in there, so keep that wrist loose and we'll see how you go. It starts on that E string with a little hammer on. And you can keep the third finger down or the open A string. Or either way. So we get that. I do all separate bows there. And that last thing is all in one. You could also break it up if you want, but I like that. So it's really feel that accent in your wrist, in your arm while you're doing the shake in your wrist. It's sort of like combined with gets you. And you could also vary that going, make it nice and crisp. With it down, up, up. So let's put that all together, the whole A part. Not too bad, right? And you notice that I'm hitting that D string on the drone. When I get to those eighth notes, I'm really trying to make them nice and choppy, so you get the contrast of this big swoop with right up the tempo that really kind of swings. Well, let's learn the rest of the tune and then you can put it together yourself. So here's the B part. Pretty simple, you can play lots of variations, but the basic, so you're holding the third finger down on the D string and hammering on the A string on the first finger. And I just keep that third finger down. Make sure to place the second finger right next to the first. And then you get a high second finger on the D string. So in there, or if that's easier, then just break that up. Or you can do a little rock. Where I'm going on the up bow, starting on the low string. I'm just kind of shooting my wrist down, shooting my hand down. Same like the A part there. Or if you split it up, it would be. Either way it works. So from the beginning of that B section. Try that again. So from the beginning of that B section. Again, here you can really change the bowings, but I'm separating that second one when I do that. So the first time, either I'll break those notes up and do the double up bow, or you can slur them all together. So I'll play that B part a couple times slowly and see if you can find something that works for yourself. And that's basically the tune. Let's play it, the whole thing nice and slow, and then I'll show you a few of the variations in the way that I actually do it when I play this tune. So here goes the whole thing at moderate tempo. So you might notice that I play a lot of different rhythmic variations, and also I'll show you now or soon some other finger variations. But in case you need a real straightforward, consistent thing, here's a couple times playing that B part nice and slow, and I'll try and do it the same way every time. Which I wouldn't necessarily do when I play it, but you can if it's helpful, and it's a good way to learn anyways. So here's the B part. You'll notice even there I did some subtle things differently pretty much every time, even though I'm trying not to. But that's how you make music, right? You're not going to do the exact same thing every time. And if you want to do even more different things, here's a couple you can try. So I like to play a few more notes on that top part sometimes and change where I put in some of the extra bits. So the first and most simple extra bit to put in that's how we played it before. On that thing, the last bit, you can just add that hammer on instead of... There's actually one extra note there. Right, I play the E again. And it's a small thing, but it changes that phrase ever so slightly that gives it something. So that would be... So there's one. Second, what I do a lot, instead of playing that the same way every time, I'll do it like that. So you can even add a little double bow there. That's the other thing I'll do. So let's play that. I'll make it kind of an organized variation that you can then add as you want. So the first time we'll do it like this. Again. Second time. So there I did. Slur. Again. And here you'll see, like I added the last bit. I did the and so that way you get like a whole long string of these broken up notes. And often that's kind of what I'm doing is when I'm throwing in the variations, sort of subconsciously trying to make something that brings out a bit of energy or goes from something more smooth to something more choppy and maybe a bit more rhythm at the end of the phrase so that you really feel like you land somewhere. And so that's a big part of it is using the contrast of these really choppy bows with the anticipated and accented first notes or whatever. It's like... etc. So you see there's a lot you can do there. And that's a perfect kind of little phrase that you can just play over and over again and try and find some different variations. And then when you get in the tune, throw them in there a little bit. You know, and don't go too crazy. Make sure you start out playing it pretty clearly so everyone you're playing with knows what you're doing. But you can really bring this simple little tune to life and end up playing it for 20 minutes without even taking any psychedelic drugs. It's the best entertainment money can't buy. So let's look at the B part and then we'll have the whole thing. So before we were playing a see my fingers starting to want to do what they're used to. So I love playing it like that, but generally I've thrown a few more notes that I think he does sometimes in the recording, and I do a little bit more. So it could be something like this. I'll try and break that down for you. Again. The bowing there. Slur. Slur. And then you could also, that first one, right, it's nice to throw those in sometimes. And then at the end, usually go again to give it a bit more of a notey punch at the end. And you can bow that a lot of different ways. Right, with a big slur. And notice that crisp note in between the slurs. Which, when you get faster, right, gets nice and crisp. So I'll play it now for you. Now I'll play it for you at tempo and throw in some of those variations I do and just see if you can catch the ones you like. It's always a trick where to start this tune. I guess I started in G and countered in G. I think a lot of banjo players like to play it in G, but some will play it out of D. Luckily, we play the fiddle.
Cut at the point.